Unity has disclosed a severe security vulnerability in their software that affects any projects built with the Unity engine since 2017. Both Kerbal Space Program and KSP2 are affected. In this video, I'm going to show you what this means for you if you're a KSP player, what has already been done by other parties to remedy the situation, and what you yourself can do to make your KSP installation more secure. Hello everybody and welcome! Kerbal Space Program has been around for over a decade. However, it has only been a bit over a year since publisher Take-Two abandoned both it as well as the sequel KSP2, fired all developers and sold the intellectual property to private equity firm Haveli Investments. This means there is nobody around to release an official patch for KSP anymore. So far this was not a big deal since the game was working fine. However, the security vulnerability disclosed by Unity on October 3rd, 2025 changes things. First, let's go over the official information posted by Unity. It states that the flaw could enable attackers with local access to execute malicious code with elevated privileges. It also says that even though the vulnerability has been in Unity applications since 2017, more than 8 years ago, there has been no evidence of this vulnerability being exploited. Affected platforms are Android, Windows, and macOS. The post goes on to advise Unity developers to update their projects as soon as possible and provide updates to their users. In a separate post, Unity Community Director Larry Ribb, also known as Major Nelson, reveals that the vulnerability was responsibly disclosed by a third-party researcher who goes by the handle Ryota K. The post also reiterates that there is currently no evidence of any active exploit for this vulnerability. Alright, so what does this mean for Kerbal Space Program? If you check out the README file and scroll down to the entry for version 1.12.0, you will notice that the game was upgraded to Unity 2019 LTS, the latter meaning long-term support. Since the vulnerability is in all Unity versions since 2017, this means that KSP is definitely affected. Since the potential attack vector requires local access, your game won't get hacked immediately if you go online. However, KSP is a game that is elevated significantly by using mods, and those are downloaded onto your local file system. In theory, an attacker could create a mod that exploits the Unity vulnerability to run arbitrary code with elevated privileges, meaning they could do all kinds of nasty things in the background without your knowledge. Given that KSP is unfortunately no longer as culturally relevant as it was many years ago, the likelihood of this is low. However, it is not zero, so don't panic, but also don't ignore this. Now to how this vulnerability is fixed. Unity recommends all developers to update their projects as soon as possible with the fixed version of their engine. Since neither KSP nor KSP2 are still being developed, that is not going to happen. However, there are a couple of other things that have been done by Microsoft and Valve. To quote the post by Major Nelson, "We have spoken with Valve and they will issue additional protections for the Steam client. For Windows, Microsoft Defender has been updated and will detect and block the vulnerability. I have to admit I have no idea how this is supposed to work in practice, but it is a good idea to have both up to date, just in case. To really stay on the safe side, you can fix your KSP installation yourself, and that's what I'm going to show you now if you are on Windows. Unity provides an application patch tool for Android, Windows, and macOS apps and games. I will put a link to it in the description and in a pinned comment. After you downloaded it, start it up and select Windows on the left-hand side. Then click Browse to navigate to the folder where your KSP or KSP2 installation is located. If you have bought the game on Steam and don't know where it is saved, open your Steam library, right-click on the game, go to Properties, then Installed Files, and then click Browse. This will open your Windows Explorer with the appropriate folder. As I said, in the Unity application patch tool, browse to the KSP installation folder and in there select the file unityplayer.dll. Then just click Patch and let the tool do its work. After it is done, it will provide you with a log. It seems that it does require an internet connection to correctly perform this operation. I did this both with KSP and KSP2 and the games were still working fine afterwards. The only change was that KSP reverted to full screen instead of my windowed 1440p resolution that I had set it to before the patch. Now a quick caveat if you are using Steam. The platform offers you to validate the installed game files. Sometimes this is recommended in case something on your hard drive is corrupted or for some reason a game refuses to launch. If you do this after you have patched your KSP or KSP2 installation, the Unity Player DLL will be regarded as corrupted by Steam and downloaded again from the official repository, reverting the patch you just did. Just keep this in mind if you ever need to perform this operation in the future, that you should also apply the patch again. Or you create a backup of the patch DLL file somewhere and copy it back into your game folder. As stated, there is currently no evidence of this vulnerability being exploited. However, that could change very quickly now that it is disclosed. KSP is not the only Unity game or app that is no longer in active development. All of those old games are now vulnerable. This also concerns Android, so check your phone if you have any games on there that are based on Unity and make sure they are up to date. Again, no need to panic, but also make sure you patched your KSP installation, which is really quick and painless. Kudos to Unity for providing this tool so even applications where no Unity project is available anymore can be patched to stay safe. As vulnerability disclosures go, I think this was handled quite professionally by everyone involved. First by the researcher who didn't just publish it before giving Unity a chance to fix it, then by Unity for providing fixes and also the patch tool, and lastly by Valve and Microsoft for working with Unity to secure their platforms in regard to this vulnerability. That's it from me today. If you think this was worth your time, please consider subscribing to this channel. Usually I cover all things space with a special focus on Kerbal Space Program and also on the development of Kitten's space agency, which could soon be a more modern and better version of our beloved space simulation game. And if you really like what I do on this channel, please consider becoming a YouTube member or signing up over on Patreon, where you can watch all my videos ad-free for a small monthly contribution. If you go for one of the higher tiers, your name will show up here, together with all of these wonderful people. As always, thank you so much for your ongoing support. Now that you know how to make your KSP installation more secure, I think it's appropriate to deviate a little and end this video with the immortal words of the one and only Scott Manley: fly safe. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel for more and follow me on my social thingies. The links are in the description. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.